You want to know the one thing most realtors and lenders don't tell their clients? So let me tell you a little story. When I bought my first home, I had little guidance and help from my team. They were really nice people. They tried their best to help me, but the honest truth was they didn't inform me of a lot of things that I wish I knew. And the whole process was a roller coaster experience. And I was absolutely not prepared for the shock that I saw about a year later after I bought, when suddenly my mortgage payment went up by almost $300. I got a letter in the mail vaguely explaining why, used some words like escrow, some shortage, payback. I had no idea what this was, something about property taxes. I didn't have a clue. I called everybody. I called my lender. I called my realtor. Nobody seemed to be able to give me the answers I wanted to. I really had to dig into it by myself. So, as I imagine it'd probably be for anybody else, to have a sudden jump in your mortgage is a killer to not be prepared for. So that's not why I like to talk about this. So let me share that with you. Property taxes, what are they? When are they paid? And how can it affect your mortgage? So property taxes are a way that the city and the county you live in make money to fund their public services. This is things like police, fire department, school, libraries, general maintenance and improvements around the neighborhood. And this money has to come from somewhere. And they all decided that it needs to be coming from the residents who live in the city. So in Michigan, we commonly refer to these taxes as summer tax and winter tax. But what most people don't know is actually two separate taxes that are really city tax and county tax. So city taxes are due in the summertime and county taxes are due in the winter, which is how they got their name. Each of these taxes are actually paid in advance for the entire year ahead, starting with the calendar date from when they first become due. Again, that's July 1st for the summer taxes or city, and December 1st for the winter taxes, and they cover that year ahead. The importance of this is that when you have a mortgage, the lender will begin what they call an escrow account or a holding account that you'll be paying a portion of your monthly payment into, which helps cover these costs for when they come due. Also, if you purchase or sell a home, the title agency will usually use a per diem rate for this in order to help prorate or reimburse at closing, depending on which side of the transaction you're on. Now, here's one of the big things no one likes to talk about. All right, so let me be real with you. When you are browsing around online on any third-party service that you're looking to hunt for homes, you're gonna often see a section where it says property taxes. And you'll look at it, and in some cases you'll be like, whoa, these property taxes are really high. Or, oh man, the property taxes in this one are really great. Let's take a look at this. Well, I wanna tell you the truth. Take whatever number you see online and throw it right in the trash. That's what the current homeowner is paying, and that's not what you will be paying. So you might be wondering, why is that not what I'm be paying if that's what they're paying? Well, the reason is because of what we call a cap. And I'll tell you a little story about this. It goes back, I think, to the 70s or 80s. Forgive me, I don't remember the exact dates. But there was a time when we were having a housing crisis where people were losing their houses because their taxable value was going up so much and they could no longer afford their houses. This includes people especially that were on fixed incomes, retirement, Social Security, that were enjoying those benefits and were no longer making money. A lot of these people were World War II vets, etc. Well, they've lived in their house for 30 years, they didn't even have mortgages on it, but their taxes were going up so high year after year because the values were going up, they couldn't afford it. So the government actually stepped in and did something good for once. And they said, this is wrong. We can't do this to our residents. So they put what they call a cap on the taxes. And that cap stops their taxes from going up more than a certain percentage each year, regardless what the property values are doing. And that leads us into what we call the state equalized value, or SEV, and the taxable value. What you're gonna see is a difference there based on how long the current owner may have owned their house and how long that cap has been on. Taxable value is what they can actually charge that resident for their property taxes. The state equalized value is where the city or county believes the value of that house actually sits. So once the cap actually gets removed, which is when the property sells, a new assessment's going to be done and a new cap gets put on for the next buyer. So you'll see that when you're talking to your lender and they're running numbers for you about what your monthly mortgage is going to look like, they are going to use that current state equalized value to determine the projected cost of taxes. But they can't predict what the new assessment may be, which is going to happen before they put that cap on. So this is where the catch comes in that no one's prepared for. This makes the escrow account of your first year a little bit of just guesswork. They're using good data that they have, but they don't really know what's going to happen with the city's new assessment before they can put that cap on. So when your next assessment comes out and it's actually greater than what the lender expected, and it often is, this will then leave a shortage in your escrow account that we talked about earlier. The lender's still going to have to pay these funds. They have to pay the balance in full when the taxes are due because they don't want a tax lien on the property. But that money's got to be repaid back to them by you as the mortgage holder. Now, this is when the big shock comes in. As I mentioned, the lender, they're still paying it even if they don't have the balance for it, but they need you to pay it back. So you're going to get a letter in the mail saying you have a shortage in your escrow account. We would like you to pay this balance back, and we're going to do so by raising the escrow amount due on your monthly statement, which means it's going to raise your mortgage by whatever that balance was divided by 12, plus whatever the new calculation is for the higher amount of taxes that they're expecting you to pay now that they have that new assessment. In truth, I think this is something that everybody should talk about, your lender especially, when they're giving you your numbers. But the truth is they can't make guesswork out of it. They can't make these judgments. But this is something I always like to discuss with my clients because I remember when I first got that bill, what am I going to do? $300 more a month was not something I prepared for. But if you have an experienced agent who understands how this works, they might be able to help guide you through that. And there are some different ways to handle this situation and better ways to prepare for it. And if you'd like to learn more about it, let's get in touch. You got my contact info right here. Let's talk soon. Also, stick around, check out my YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and see what other videos I got that you can get some value out of.